Welcome to the first episode of the No Scrubs podcast. I'm your host, Lewis, and joined to me today is my co-host, Stephen. How you going, Stephen?
Oh, yeah, no, not too bad, eh?
You know, good?
You know, good. Yeah.
Good to hear, mate. Good to hear. So tell us a little bit about yourself for the people at home.
Well, my name's Stephen, and I find myself more drawn to turn-based JRPGs and fighting games, especially 2D ones.
I thought you were about to drop a rap. I thought it was about, my name is Stephen, and I'm here to say...
No. And yeah, basically my bread and butter is Street Fighter, but I also like games like King of Fighters, which share the similarities. And yep, big Dragon Quest fan. Also dabbled in the Final Fantasies, and also the Like a Dragon series. Very good.
Damn, aggressively pointing with the vape.
Yeah, for emphasis.
This man does love his Yakuza. The games. The games, not the gang. Just to clarify.
Say, this man does love his vapes.
This man does love his mongrel mob. I feel I had to clarify the games.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm Lewis. Love me some Souls likes, some rogue likes. I guess anything with like in the name. I like Tekken. I wouldn't say 3D fighters. Love a bit of Tekken. I enjoy a 2D fighter. 2D and 3D platformers. Really, a lot of things. A lot of variety. I can't make up my damn mind. Still a sucker for the Pokemon games as well because, you know, everybody loves baby's first RPG. So, yeah. Good times. So, just to get us warmed up, what's your first console growing up as a young boy, Stephen?
Physical console? It was the PlayStation 1.
A classic.
Yeah. And, you know, had a lot of fond memories of like when the first Crash Bandicoot came out. Was able to dabble the first Tekken. And yeah. Fortunately, when I got a PS1 or a PSX, it was with the analog sticks. Doing it without, I was just like, that is archaic.
Even as a kid, did you feel like you were like, this ain't right? There's something missing.
Yeah. And I was just like, when I saw like, you know, Google Images, I was like, that's broken. It's missing a core piece of it. Well, you're going to just use the D-pad?
I know that now. I'm so used to seeing the analog sticks, but the controller just looks so empty without them. It really does.
It looks amputated.
It does. It just looks a little off. My first was a Sega Mega Drive 2, and the only real notable games I had on there, so Sonic 2, a classic, a game called Chuck Rock. That went pretty hard when you're a caveman and you literally, as the name says, you chucked rocks. Little 2D platformer. I remember it being pretty fucking tough, but it was pretty cool. The intro music went real hard, like just way harder than it should have. I think though that was Sega's big like claim to fame in the day though, was the sound chip on it. And then I got a Game Boy Pocket, and we got given a PlayStation 1 by a family friend that he used to race cars and was just like, man, I got to get Gran Turismo so I can race cars in my house. And then was like, this isn't quite like the real thing. So just gave us the PlayStation for Christmas. And that was, as much as I loved the Sega, I only had like 2 or 3 games that were even worth playing. And it was really just the PS1, just so good. And all your mates had it. So you just borrow games of your boys. You know, sharing is caring. I had my boy Matt Code. Shout out Matt Code. Borrowed my Final Fantasy 8 for like 2 years, so that was pretty cool. He got stuck and didn't know what to do, so grinded his way to just max level. Because Final Fantasy 8's got a stupid leveling thing. It takes the same amount of XP for every level up, so you could just grind out, and then the game scaled as well. So It's actually not in your best interest to do it. But shout out to him, regardless.
Going back to like Game Boy Pockets, a fond memory when I was in school, because like people would bring their Game Boys to school and they would get Game Boy pocketed. We had to have an assembly where the principal was just like, no more Game Boys at school, and it was like everyone was like, oh, I was indifferent, didn't have one. But then one of my mates he was sick that day, and then he comes in with his Game Boy, just whips it out and starts playing it. And it was just like, oh, he doesn't know.
So it was just the Game Boy you whipped out?
Game Boy. X.
Alright, so we're getting into our first main segment here, Smash or Game Pass. So my pick for at the moment is Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. So it's I actually looked it up. They call it a roguelite. No, not roguelite. Souls light. So it's so it is actually, you know, when I was trying to describe it. So we've got there's a lost episode. Someone ran out of storage. We won't point any fingers. We don't need it was Steve. But so we talked about it. We talked about this before. But then I looked it up. I was trying to describe it, and I just couldn't find the best way. It's kind of got like Souls-like elements, but it's not quite there. Souls-light. I'm like, dude, that's the perfect way to sum it up. So it's like an action game. You go into different areas that are like semi-open and kind of more like some slight branching paths, like path A, path B, and you kind of just pick your own way. Action combat's really good. Feels solid. It's got if you perfect block, you do a parry. You've got a gun to do when the enemy's got a red glow. You fire your weapon to get them in like a stun animation. So that's really cool. There is another mechanic where you got a little fennec fox with you, and you press it's triangle or Y depending on your controller, and it'll start building up a meter on them that you can. So for enemies that have like a grey health bar, you'll be able to like get them out of that by breaking their stance essentially, and then be able to beat their ass. The only real downside with it is the bosses have been a little lacking. These guys made Ashen, which I really enjoyed. Though story about that, it was originally released on the Epic Game Store exclusively, and as a Kiwi dev, and I was like, I want to help out the Kiwi dev. They didn't have cloud saves back then. My save corrupted when I was up to the last boss, and I was like, I'm playing through this whole fucking game again. Not their fault. I blame Epic Games. I don't buy
you
more
like
games.
twice, hasn't it?
It happened to me with Hades as well. So
yeah,
you know, a roguelike, you're trying to get your progression up, and then you lose. I lost my save twice, and then I was like, I'm waiting for Steam. I'm waiting for the Steam release. Yeah, fuck you, Tim Sweeney. Yeah, fuck you. No, Hayes alright. Anyway, back to Flintlock. So you're doing a little tangent there. Yeah, so that the boss design is just it could be better. So I'd like to see better bosses out of them going forwards. There's a cool mechanic that you find these little altars with a skull on it, and it puts these like purple like portals up in the sky, and then you press a button to kind of just teleport to them, and you can use it to just kind of teleport your way around. So if you're getting through an area where you haven't got to a checkpoint, or, you know, as a Souls player, I just call them all bonfires. So if you haven't got to your bonfire, you can go, we'll use this gate, and just kind of teleport your way across bits of the map. So it's quite cool to, you know, in the Souls design, a lot of the time it'll be a door does not open from the side, and then they'll have a clever way to design it so it works itself around. You can have like a shortcut, but this was like kind of cheating that without having to, you know, make it as not have to get as clever with the design, but you don't limit yourself as much either. So I did really like that mechanic. Sometimes you'd find a kind of secret one and traverse your way up to like a higher ledge to find an item. Yeah. So far I'm probably about 6 hours in and still enjoying it. I think I'm a little over halfway. There's a mini game in it that maybe I don't like it because I'm stupid, but you've got to get these three little tiles in the shape of a triangle to win the game, and some of them are just fucking difficult. There's just strategies that if the AI uses, it will just lock you out completely. Like so. I liked it at the start, and now I'm kind of like, now I see it, I'm like, nah, I ain't doing this shit anymore. Overall, price of admission is a Game Pass subscription, so I'm definitely a fan. So it's a smash from me. Have you had a look into this, Stephen?
I did have a look into it, and like, I'm keen on it. It's very, very colourful, uh, which is quite interesting because it's like maybe it's just the Souls-like aesthetic, but things tend to be a little bit grimdark. Um, I'll give it a dabble because I don't have the testicular fortitude to play actual Souls games. Maybe one day.
Soft,
And
soft.
yeah, yeah, not even half chubbed.
Yeah.
Combat looks fluid. It looks very nice. And the little Phoenix little mechanic that also looks real good. I also saw in a bit of a gameplay you can do double jumps.
Yes, so the double jumps with your gun as well. So you don't actually shoot; doesn't cost any ammo. But you was it or maybe you have a little gunpowder bag or something. So it goes, you jump, and then it goes bang below you jump again, and then you've got another one to get yourself. So with jumping is like, so you'd go A, and then B essentially to kind of get yourself around. You can also use it to stop fall damage and stuff like that, which is quite cool.
Not just jumping midair and just going bang.
Yeah, not quite. I did see though that tangent, that squirrel with a gun. That is a mechanic in that though. For the double jump, is you actually shoot the gun, so which makes sense. I imagine there'd be a lot of recoil for a squirrel.
Mm.
So yeah,
It's more than one way to bust a nut.
he's not wrong. He's not wrong, folks. Yeah, so what you're saying as well about it, it is a lot more vibrant than your average Souls game. Personally, I like a miserable fucking world in a game. I don't know what it is. I'm like, everything's turned to shit. I'm like, fucking, let's go, baby. Let's
You like
go.
you like to be reminded that the in-game universe hates you.
Exactly. Love a world that hates me. But then when I have in games where the NPCs are like, fuck you, I'm like, oh, hell nah, mate. Hell nah. It's personal now.
Why'd you say that?
Yeah, why you say fuck me for? Yeah, so it is a lot more vibrant. It's on the Unreal Engine as well, so it looks really good. Has DLSS, so that is nice for my 2070. That's, getting a bit long in the tooth.
It's got
Yeah.
DLS.
Yes.
No, sorry. I'm an idiot. I fucked my own joke. I meant to say it's got DSL.
We love some DSLs, don't we, folks? So anyway, that's Flintlock, The Siege of Dawn. Definitely worth checking out. I think as well, especially if you're a Kiwi. Shout out to Kiwi devs out there. I mean, Kiwis are making some cool stuff at the moment as well. Path of Exile 2 is coming out. I think it's in early access now, so that's exciting. I think it's Kiwi
Support your
devs
local
backed by-
scene.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's backed by Chinese money now, but it's still a Kiwi dev, still made in New Zealand, which is cool because we don't have a lot down here. We don't make a lot, so it is exciting to see.
We want to be
like
known
this.
for
And,
more things than hobbits.
yeah, hobbits and sheep. Fuck all else, to be honest. And terrible accents. Dude,
No,
I still don't understand why down at Invercargill they roll their ass. I've got no fucking idea why that happens. But I was talking to someone the other day on the phone. 5-minute conversation, had no idea until they said something with an R in it. I'm like, it's from Invercargill, what the fuck? Like, just down south in general. I'm like, what? I wonder where it is. There's a cutoff of like, you're down the last like 30% of the South Island, those R's have been rolled. And it's like, who the fuck knows why? It's the only part of the country that happens. So, a bit of random Kiwi lore for you.
Mm.
All right, so what is your pick for smash your Game Pass?
So mine has got to be Kinetsugami Path of the Goddess. Now, last time we talked about this, because I was like, oh yeah, it's like it's an action game, but it's like an RTS. But I think you put it better, where it's just like it's got tower defense aspects of it. So basically, you start off every mission, you go into the village, and everything's fucked. Everything's gooey and fucked.
So
So
everything's fucked. Everybody sucks.
yeah, chainsaw ass raw. And so basically, what you have until nightfall, because there are gates where demons come out, and you have until nightfall to basically you'll see other villagers just in these. They sort of look like they're mummified. You free them, that gives you more units because you can change the people you saved into like archers, uh, spearmen. Down the line, you get gunmen and like sumos. And so you assemble a team, and then what you want to do is you. It's actually the animation's real cool. You stab your sword in the ground, and you like run through this path, and you're clearing it, and the goddess will make her way super slowly to where you've cleared the path. But when it hits nightfall, you have to assemble your troops. Like what I would do is I'll put a bunch of sumos right outside the gate to slow the enemies in, and I'll surround the goddess with basically my spear people, and put archers a little bit adjacent from the gate. The thing is, if you die, you have this timer where a cooldown where you get summoned back, but if the goddess dies, that's the end of the run. There's also real cool things like the sword style. Like you can unlock another fighting style, but the base one is like a sword dance fighting style. So the animations are incredibly fluid. You also There's also stuff like, and it doesn't add anything to the game. I just think it's cool. Once you've purified the village, you can give your villagers tasks to start repairing. And one of the things you get are like these little feudal age sweet treats that have a 3D model view of it, which they look delicious, but also they give us a description of it as like, okay, this was used for the ceremony of like the sun. And the other cool thing, you press it, you watch the goddess just slowly eat it. Unnecessary, but it's a nice touch. And the game also reminds me, shout out to Capcom, it reminds me of when they could make fun games that were a bit risky, like your Okami and your Beautiful Joe.
Absolutely, and I like seeing Capcom do different shit and experimental shit, and I know this was only possible because Microsoft did actually pay a chunk of development to have it on Game Pass as well. I believe it was similar with Exo Primal, which for that month I played Exo Primal. I loved it. It was everything I wanted in the moment, and it's just really cool seeing Capcom make interesting things because so many. It feels like so many developers are playing it safe these days. So it's really cool seeing Capcom still experiment with some really interesting stuff. So I definitely want to check out Kunitsugami at some point because it does sound like a lot of fun, and it's just very unique. Even down to like the art style is very
Mm.
Japanese. It's very like traditional Japanese, which is
It
really
is
cool.
very Japanese.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with Final Fantasy trying to look more Western, and like now with Final Fantasy 16 is like sword and board kind of like
Sword and board.
aesthetic. Yeah, it's knights and armor and stuff, which I love. I mean, I say I'm a Souls fan. I love
Mm.
that shit. Give me like Dark Souls 1 Elite Knight armor. Love that shit. So it's not actually like a knock, but it is cool seeing them go and use that like very traditional Japanese aesthetic. as well. So because it feels like it doesn't get done enough considering how many games are developed in Japan.
100%.
So shout out to Capcom for trying something new and experimenting and keeping us on our toes.
Speaking of like Exoprimal of Capcom, what an experience where you just see basically a dimension, like a little rift, just shit out raptors.
Yeah, they start spewing out of this
Yeah,
portal,
yeah.
and you're in like a little mech suit, and you're like, oh man, and with your boys in mech suits as well, like, damn, we got to go fuck these dinosaurs up.
Mm.
Like, mech suits fight dinosaurs, like, it's so fucking dumb, but I'm all in. I'm all in when I see shit like that. So once again, it was on Game Pass. But still might be on Game Pass. I haven't had a look, but wasn't even on the Smash or Game Pass. But also check out Exoprimal if you're looking for a game to play with your homies. Something
Yeah,
chill, turn your
yeah.
brain off, and just have a good time.
100%.
Yeah. So let's get into a bit of the news. So, a recent news was that Sony is looking to acquire Kadokawa, who they are a massive manga and anime publisher in Japan. They own a heap of manga, so they're massive over there, and they also own my beloved From Software. I did see someone complaining about this. All, of course, someone was complaining. Of course, it was on Twitter or X. It's about the cover. The only coverage it was getting from the West was like they own From Software, but really so much of their business is the anime and manga. And I do think Sony obviously want both parts of that business because they own Crunchyroll and Anime Lab got rolled into Crunchyroll now. So Sony owns a heap of manga and a heap of anime that they are trying to corner that market. And then having From Software would be the icing on the cake for them as well. So it sounds like Kadokawa was wanting to be acquired by Sony because they were just trying to find a Japanese company ultimately to acquire them. Because it sounds like Tencent is wanting to try to do a hostile takeover, and they were just like, we would rather remain Japanese owned. So they're like, please buy us, Sony, is my understanding of it. And I think Sony would buy them as well because it just makes sense for Sony to buy them and what Sony's goals are. To dominate all forms of media they can in there, whether it's like manga, anime, movies, music, gaming. They just want all entertainment. So it just makes sense. I'd rather From Software not be owned by one of the major gaming publishers personally because I buy their games on PC. But I feel like if Sony does acquire them, they'll probably leave them alone because you don't really want to fuck with what they've got going on over there. I mean, Elden Ring sold, what was it, 25 million units? I just look it up. Yeah, damn. So by June, it had sold 25 million units. June of this year, which is fucking crazy. That's like a Nintendo game level of units sold. Well, I say that, but I think Smash sold like 40 million units or something ridiculous. Don't quote me on that. I'd have to look that one up too. But it was the most sold fighting game ever was Smash Ultimate. Okay, now I'm gonna have to look that up too on my little fucking tangent. Okay, yeah, no, I was wrong. It was 35 million, which is still, it's fucked. It's the most sold fighting game ever, and it's a fucking party platformer. Look, I also love Smash Esports. I've watched so much Melee. I've watched Mango just fucking pop the fuck off over there. So I'm not saying it's not competitive, but ultimately at its core, it's a party platformer, and it sold fucking more units than I think it sold more units than every Street Fighter and Tekken, like every Street Fighter combined and every Tekken combined. Not those two together, but those two separately as franchises.
It's quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy. So I know this is off on a tangent now to our Kadokawa, but yeah, just so people know, 25 million units is fucking bonkers. So, and I guess that also leads to they did announce a new Elden Ring game, kind of. at the Game Awards, which we'll be going to do shortly. So Elden Ring Night Rain. So that it looks right up my alley, being roguelike, co-op Elden Ring. So I don't expect this to be a 25 million unit seller, but they're doing something different, and I'm looking forward to it. So, yeah. You got any thoughts on the Kadokawa acquisition by Sony?
I'm not as well read on it, or something I haven't really looked into. But I just want to can you just tilt your head like that a little bit? Yeah, look at that nice Praise the Sun. That's not a poster, that's metal, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a metal poster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't shout out the company because we're not sponsored. So, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I do
We
think it's
won't, we
just,
won't be doing that. Sorry,
I
go on.
think I basically just I agree on the points you make. Like it would be cool for the Japanese company to still be like operated by Japanese. And Sony's been doing cool things. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think as well. It just makes sense. Makes sense as far as acquisitions go for it to be them. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Steam Controller 2 leak. So it was data mined through there's a Steam VR update. And people data mined it, and it looks like they've taken inspiration from the Steam Deck and added 2 touchpads to each side. So I own the original Steam controller. Wasn't a big fan of how it worked. So it was 2 like big touch circle pads, and then you had a left analog stick for those inputs. Was there a D-pad? I'm just going to double check if there was a D-pad for that, so I don't mislead. No D-pad. No D-pad on the original one. So the leak of the new one shows it looks like a little chunkier, but a regular controller. So 2 D-pad, 2 sticks, so on. But it's also got the touchpads from the Steam Deck. So I'm interested to see how that works. Because there's rumors that they're also going to be releasing like new Steam machines, like so little desktops that you just kind of plug in, running Steam OS, and play your games on that on a TV. So
I hope that's the name of it, Steam Machine.
they've done Steam machines before through different companies and so on. So yeah, I think the controller looks cool. I'm an idiot. I'll probably just fucking buy one day one. To be honest, I like hardware. I like controllers. I just can't help myself.
It's
So
definitely aesthetically and well functionality. It definitely looks better than the one that just looked like it had 2 indents
yeah,
in it. Because I think we talked about this before, how you just find yourself, oh, my thumb's just slid off it completely.
you get to the edge of it and you don't realize you're at the edge of it
Mm.
because you got to keep like swiping like kind of back to the middle like that. So yeah, it's a lot to get used to, and maybe if I spent the time, it would have been good, but you just didn't get enough. They'd have to figure out a way to give you feedback when you're on that as well. So I like that the sticks are there, and then the touchpad's handy, especially for stuff though also outside of the game, like in Steam OS to navigate your way around. I think it'll be good for that.
Imagine if those
So
little indents had like so much haptic feedback, so it's just like yeah.
like there's that video of that guy who playing like World of Tanks or something, and he's like added recoil to a mouse or something, so when he shoots, it's like bang, his whole desk fucking moves. Yeah, that's good shit, man. That's good shit. Um, we've got a bigger show with the Game Awards happened, so I made this document for our lost episode. So we're
Yep.
going to skip a couple of things. We'll talk about them another time. So there is a new Baldur's Gate patch coming out with some new subclasses. We've been playing a 4-player run of Baldur's Gate 3 on Twitch, twitch.tv rect_tech. REKT, and it's called TEK. So on my channel, and it is just fucking chaos. If you want to see and how many ways Stephen can fuck everything up and come to the stream. My favorite is still we're fighting enemies with these masks on, and we all kind of understand. Oh, they're possessed. They all have to be wearing these masks. We have like a very brief conversation about like, all right, must be the masks possessing them. So we all understand that, and then Stephen's character starts attacking us. We're like, what the fuck? Stephen, what did you do? What did you do? Oh, I thought the mask looked cool. You really fucked up, didn't you, Stephen?
I did. That's what I get for being a fashion fighter.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun doing that. Baldur's Gate 3 is not my type of game, but playing it with the boys, just the shenanigans really do make it. Like, and it is those things in the moment you're like, oh man, you fucked up with that, and then just have to play it out, and it's actually been a heap of fun. So the new subclasses look like they should be interesting. The patch is coming out next year, and I think we will actually get a chance, because our playthrough is only 1 day a week for maybe 2 to 3 hours. I think we'll end up getting to see what the subclasses are by the time we get there. So yeah. So have you had a look at what they are?
I'm pretty sold on the Path of the Giant.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm currently doing a Berserker Barbarian. So because I wanted to be the big smack boy. I think the only downside is I can't pick up my teammates and just yeet them. But with Path of the Giant, you get a new type of rage where you get extra size and strength, and also you can fucking biff opponents and teammates. So I reckon offensively, that's going to be real good if we want to say, oh, you've got some smites on you. I can just chuck this guy your way, or DT can't make a jump, so I'll just biff him.
Yeah, I don't know why. What's the jumping tied to? Is it strength? Because
Think
these
so.
are like dexterity. So man can't jump to fucking save his life. We've got our fucking mage that can jump up these like cliffs and stuff, and we've got the rogue who can't, or ranger. Oh wait, they're different classes. I think he's a rogue.
He's a rogue,
He
yeah.
just can't jump up anything, which is also quite funny. So it'd be funny if Stephen will be able to toss him like a dwarf, you know?
It was also funny, speaking of like jumping, in our last big battle we did, it was like, alright, we're just going to get into position. I was like, cool. I didn't sneak, I just jumped behind them and just initiated the fight. It's like, oh no.
Well, like,
Classic
here we
Stephen.
go. And then we got fucked up and then loaded and then destroyed them.
Yeah.
But that's all right. Yeah. I was just having a look through the subclasses then. There's so much information to go into with that. So it really is a thing of, if you are interested, it's best to have a look, read up on all this information. There's fucking walls and walls of text about...
And you love reading.
What each is it? Not me. Normally for something like this I'd go into it, but Baldur's Gate is so in-depth, and it's popular, but also niche enough that I'm not just going to read all the patch notes. If it was a Baldur's Gate 3 podcast, absolutely, we'd be going all in. But yeah, they look cool, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they've got in store for our playthrough. The next news is X Defiant closing down in about 6 months. So I played a little bit of it. I enjoyed what I played. You know, it's really, they were trying to make a Call of Duty killer free to play, and the game wasn't bad. Wasn't bad at all. It just didn't have enough to keep me there. Ultimately, like I've been playing Black Ops 6 on Game Pass, and I'm like, I know as well that it's not a free game, but Black Ops 6 is just significantly better, in my opinion. I just think, and once again, gunplay's not bad, X Defiant, but it's just better. It's just better in Black Ops 6. I've been playing Zombies mode with the boys. We used to bring my Xbox and TV around to their place back when we were in high school and System Link and just play Zombies. And I'm like, man, this fucking takes me back. It's really... One of my mates who's become a super antisocial single-player only gamer, he's been like, when are we getting on Zombies again? I'm like, all right, mate. All right, we'll get on. We'll get on. So yeah, it's been great. So just that comparison, it's it's just a very classic Ubisoft of putting out a 7 out of 10 game, and in this aggressive market, it's just not enough. I really liked that they were using factions from the other franchises. You had factions from The Division and Watch Dogs, Splinter Cell, which was actually really, really cool idea. You've got all that IP there, you may as well use it. So I really liked that about it. But it just didn't do enough. Being good is just not enough anymore. You have to be great, and especially in the live service field. If you're not excellent, you're just not going to survive.
No Rayman, no play, man.
Exactly. So, although they did add to, we'll get to Astrobot in a bit. They did add Rayman, little Rayman collectible in Astrobot. So that was nice. I played through that yesterday because they made a new level. It's a Christmas level. I'm not a big Christmas guy. It's all right. I could take it or leave it. It's just and the level, and you'd get into it. You get your little Santa costume in Astrobot, and I'm like, oh, I love this. I'm like, this is so fucking cute. So yeah, a little Rayman collectible. I won't spoil the other ones, but that was a pleasant surprise.
See, not only does he like Souls-like, he likes things that ooze soul.
Exactly. Souls and Soul. So for the next one, Marvel Rivals has launched. I played a little bit, and it is very much an Overwatch game. I enjoy it. It's a fun game to play socially, which I haven't done yet. I've played a couple of games by myself, with randoms. Mostly played the Punisher to get my bearings because he's the Soldier 76 of the game, and it's a bit of fun. Definitely got some balancing issues. Spider-Man's just a fucking pain in the ass to deal with, just flipping around doing Spider-Man things. I don't actually think he's overpowered. He's just a fucking pain. But yeah, so if you like co-op shooters, hero shooters, objective-based games, I definitely recommend Marvel Rivals. I saw people saying it's only succeeding because of the IP, and you're like, why didn't the Avengers game succeed then? Why did Guardians of the Galaxy, which from all accounts was a really good game, some people say the best written game in years, why didn't that succeed? It's definitely not just the IP.
No.
I think having free-to-play helps as well, but yeah, so yeah, the characters, I like the style of use. A lot of people were mad about Wolverine, but I thought Wolverine looked fine, to be honest.
He looks like he fucks.
Yeah, he fucks, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think people are just so used to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine at this point that they don't like that, but that's fine. Wolverine has always been an angry little manlet, okay? He's canonically 5'3". Come on.
He's Danny DeVito with knives.
Exactly. They just started stabbing.
Sorry. Not knives. Skewers.
Actually, they're more like skewers.
Actually, because they mold to his bones, and his bone claws weren't fucking bone knives.
We're not doing this again. We're not fucking doing this again.
Push his glasses up.
Yeah, but it's cool. I feel like the characters mostly represent what they like. Magneto's a tank. I'm like, I don't really know if he'd be a tank, but I feel like they have leaned into like the magnetism side, which is cool. I do like
From
that.
What my brother was telling me about it, people have been kicking up a little bit of a stink about that character, the land shark.
Jeff the land shark, yeah.
Because of his ult.
Yeah, so you kind of just eat people up and then you spit them off a cliff and just insta-kill them.
Or you swallow up all of your the enemies and you just jump off the cliff yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, but I heard that he was found dead in the Bronx, so, what are you going to do? Rest in peace, Jeff the land shark.
But you can also spit your teammates, can you?
I think so. Yeah, I haven't played as him. I played as him in the open beta, but I haven't played since full release, so It's been a hot minute. Next bit of news is Indiana Jones has launched on Game Pass, and it's getting great reviews. People are loving it. People are saying it's like, a lot of people are like, there's only 3 Indiana Jones movies, and now this game is kind of like a fourth. And you're like, whatever. I didn't think Kingdom Skull was that bad. Nah. There's 3 Indiana Jones movies. Okay, Dial of Destiny. I never saw Dial of Destiny, but so yeah, there was an early access with the pre-order as well, and I just want to talk to you as well about how do you feel about pre-order early access to games?
I found it I don't know. It's because when we got those copies in at my work, we had the exclusive edition which released on say the 6th, but then standard on the 9th. I think I'm not for it because we've had that talk where it's just like, oh, you wanna look it up, see how it's doing, and then you just get swarms of spoilers,
Yeah,
especially if it's an experience you want to go in absolutely blind in. I don't know. I think it'd be cool, and there's that little bit of that itch when everyone is waiting for that game to drop so they can all play it at the same time.
yeah, yeah. I feel the same way. I don't like that. I mean, I would have played every Diablo game. I grew up playing Diablo 1 and loved it. Played 2, played 3. Not quite on launch because it didn't work on launch, but 3 days after launch, I played 3. So I'd played all of them on launch. And when they did buy the extra premium edition to get it early, and I was like, nah, I ain't spending that extra like $40 or whatever it was here. When the game just fully came out, I was like, I've actually I missed the window. I've kind of lost some of that day one hype for it, and I didn't end up picking it up. I picked up an Xbox that came with it, and then I played it on console, which felt like blasphemy to me as playing Diablo on PC for years, and then I played it on Xbox. I'm like, this actually goes kind of hard on the console. What the fuck? I think it's because I've designed them better for controller and stuff now. So yeah, but I'm not a fan of it. I understand why Xbox would want to do it because they're like, oh, it's on Game Pass, or day one on Game Pass. Actually, but if you want it, you got to play it on day -3 with the pre-order. Like
Day -3.
It's business wise, I get it, right? But I don't like it. I just don't like it. It's nice if games should release at the same time for everyone. I think, but
Like,
I get you want to make money, and they painted themselves into a corner with it. They did it with Starfield as well, and they sold a shitload of copies of Starfield because of the pre-order thing, which they would have sold way less of. But I know as well it's going to get me one of these days. Fucking From Software will do it, and I'll cave, and I will do it. I absolutely will. I've done it once before, but because the price was reasonable, like Remnant 2. Remnant 2 had that, but it was also get this edition and you'll get the first DLC with it as well. So I'm like, okay, I'm not just spending it for nothing. And it was still like $90 New Zealand. So it was still cheaper than a full price game. I was like, fuck it, I could do that. But in general, you're only paying you're paying like an extra $40 and only get you'll get a couple of skins and early access. And I'm like, it's just not worth the money. So yeah, not a fan, but I understand the economics of it and why Xbox specifically would want to be doing it. Yeah, and the game itself looks awesome though. It looks great. I think the PC specifications are ridiculous. I hear it does actually run better than the recommended specs would tell you. But yeah, I think I might play it on the Xbox because it makes sense on the big screen, on the couch, a good big sound system as well. I think that is where it's going to be best. So I'm going to give it a go, but I'm on balls deep in a couple of games right now, and I just want to get those finished first, then I'll get around to it.
let them balls dry off before you dip back in.
Oh, absolutely.
Give him a little shake.
So when we recorded the Lost episode,
Mm.
the Game Awards hadn't happened yet. Now they have. So I want to talk about. We did it. We had a chat about how. Well, we'll go over who was nominated for the Game Awards Game of the Year, and then we'll actually go through all the winners of all of them. So, full Game of the Year: Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, which is a DLC, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio were the nominations. And there was a lot of controversy over. Well, a lot of people were upset about Balatro being nominated. I saw so many tweets of people like, "Why the fuck's this card guy nominated? This is so stupid." Then an hour later, they post a screenshot of them playing, and they're like, "I get it now." Like, the game is a masterpiece. It's like genuinely like a true masterpiece, and I'm so happy to see it on there. It was, and that list was my second pick. I played 4 out of 6 of these, and it was my number 2. So, yeah, I think Black Myth Wukong as well seemed like a good game, but I don't know if it was Game of the Year material. Like for me personally, I had Helldivers above it. My personal list.
For democracy.
Yeah, absolutely. We love a bit of managed democracy. There are other games on there as well, like a Dragon. Was it Infinite Wealth?
Yeah.
That was your one. Yeah.
Still bit it.
Yeah, I think that was a game that deserved the nomination as well. And it's not that Wukong's bad game. I just think there were other better games on there. Shadow of the Erdtree, I loved it, but it just was more of kind of the base game that won 2 years ago. So I feel like should that have been nominated? I'm not entirely against the DLC being nominated for Game of the Year. I think if it's substantial, like it took me 40 hours to complete it. So other people feel differently, and that's absolutely fine. And I think the community was loud enough this year that they probably will do a best DLC category going forwards, and that's fine. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I thought was just a bit bloated. I enjoyed what I enjoyed. You know, what I played, I did enjoy. But the game was 80 hours long and so many forced mini games and so on. And, you know, some were optional, but you're like, oh, but I get a weapon out of this, so I feel like I have to do it. Yeah, just the combat was fucking excellent. I think it's some of the best action combat I've ever seen. And when it could get out of its own way and let the storytelling and stuff happen, those moments were quite good. I think up until the end, I kind of, got very JRPG, if you will,
Wordy.
which some people really like.
I do. I'm one of those people who like wordy things.
Yeah, absolutely. But I finished the game and I was like, I know I'm going to play the next part, but I'm less interested. After Remake, I was super interested to see what they did next, and now I'm like, I'm going to finish it out. I finished Final Fantasy VII last year. It took me 40 hours to beat the whole last game. It took me 80 hours to beat part 2 of the fucking remake. Like, what the fuck? You know, I got Knights of the Round and everything. You know, I went through it. I did fucking everything pretty much. So, yeah.
Ball status, deep.
Yeah, exactly. So, I just don't think they value your time. And some people want those super long games, like the Metaphor ReFantazio is like an 80-hour plus RPG as well. And there's a game I was like, I don't have time. I just don't have time for this game. There's so many things on my fucking list. I've never been into the Persona games either, but when they're like, you're not a teenager in high school, I'm like, well, you might still be around that teenager age, but you're not in high school. I'm like, okay, I'm genuinely more interested in it, because as a 32-year-old man, the high school setting just doesn't really appeal to me. I left school a long ass time ago. I just don't really think about it anymore. I didn't even have a bad time in school. It was fine. But yeah, I'm not a teenager. So Metaphor seemed really cool. That was when I did my voting, which is, you know, just as the plebe voting, I voted for Astrobot. But I thought Metaphor was going to win because it seemed like it did enough differently. But I think that you had, in the voting there, you had 4 RPGs probably cannibalizing themselves. Wukong's more of an action game, but it's still a bit. It's got like RPG elements and stuff to it. So you had four RPGs. I think they cannibalized the voting against themselves. So
What I do find interesting is with the nominations is we got an indie going neck to neck, Brontosaurus style, with a bunch of triple A's, but then also a DLC being nominated. I think,
Yeah.
is that a first time thing?
I'd have to say, I'm not sure if a DLC has been nominated before.
But like you said, it is substantial, like 40 hours.
Yeah.
If it was just like a 6 hour one, it's just like someone's doing a wind up.
Yeah. Though, even then, even if it's 6 hours, like inside one game of the year once, and that game's about 3 or 4 hours as a full
Mm.
game. And that game is excellent. It's probably in my top 10, top 20 ever, like all time. Yeah, might not just scrape in my top 10 personally, but that game's phenomenal. I'd recommend everybody play Inside because, first of all, it's not expensive, and second of all, it's not a massive time commitment. Definitely worthwhile. So, game length's an interesting one because I do think it plays a factor like for the DLC because it does have to be substantial, but at the same time, you do have those smaller games as well that I think deserve deserve a nomination as well. So it's weird with the criteria. I'm fine for both. I'm fine for short games and DLCs being nominated, but I think to keep everybody happy, which you don't always have to do, you can be like,
Mm.
nah, we make the rules, fuck you. I think adding best DLC will just appease everyone.
But what if they have a subcategory where it's like best DLC cosmetic attire for your
Horse
game
armor,
you're playing? Yeah.
$8 horse armor. I can't actually remember how much it was, but yeah. So I was pretty happy though with the nominations overall. I think most of them were actually pretty good. And like, I'm not mad about Wukong being nominated either. I thought there were some better picks, but I do think it's still one of the top games of the year. So they're going to go over the uh, the winners of it. I'm not going to read all the losers. Just read the winners. So best. So also controversially, the best esports team and best esports athlete. So T1 being the other, or the most iconic, the winningest, I guess is the term, which always sounds wrong,
Winningest.
but most winning League of Legends team for the World Championships ever. Faker he is the GOAT of League of Legends. So Faker won the best esports athlete, but it's interesting because they only won one major tournament. There was one in Saudi Arabia that certain teams entered, and I think they won that as well. But most people kind of were like, it's not an official tournament, blah, 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 whatever. So counting the official ones, they lost the LCK twice. And Faker wasn't the best, even the best mid laner at Worlds. So I don't know, man. I don't know if they should have won. I do think they were super impressive in the finals. I think they looked great. I think Faker really stepped up as well. But you step up for one tournament and one finals. I don't know. Still happy to see he's had a massive career and he's still fucking winning. So he is definitely a legends.
Allegiance?
Definitely a legend in the league. Best esports game, League of Legends. I do think it's fair enough. As much as I don't play League of Legends at all anymore, I'm not installing that fucking rootkit Vanguard into my PC. I do think it's a great esport. I do still enjoy watching it. Content creator of the year, Queso. I'll be honest, I know none of them except Queso. I just don't watch streamers anymore. To be quite honest,
He's built like a one by one Lego brick.
he seems like genuinely a good dude.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of clips, so no complaints. He's the only one I know. Fair enough. Most anticipated game, GTA 6, absolutely. I don't even think it's close. I saw some Monster Hunter fans being like, "What?" But I think GTA 6 has to be the most anticipated game. I'm not even a big Grand Theft Auto guy, and I'm like, dude, I want to fucking see what they're putting out. This game's got an estimated $2 billion budget. This shit's got to be fucking crazy. So, as Alex, my partner, we've talked about a few times that we're we're both gonna get it. She's like, we're both getting GTA 6. It's the only game, or one of the few games we're both actually gonna get. Normally, I'll buy a game and then she'll mooch off me.
Yeah.
That is the dynamic. But with this, we're both going to get it. And we're going to be playing online together, so that'll be fun. Best adaptation, people. This is a bit controversial. Fallout 1. I really liked the Fallout show. That's what I voted for as well. I was like, dude, I'm glad it won because I thought the show was great. A lot of people said it should have been Arcane, and look, maybe it should have been, but no, dude, Fallout was a great show. I don't even like the Fallout games. I'm going to be straight up with you. There's just a game feel issue for me with Bethesda games. They just feel janky and slow and clumsy. Just haven't. I liked Skyrim when it came out. I was playing on the Xbox 360. You know, different times, but yeah. So
Well,
shout out to the Fallout winning.
I guess that's a bit of a testament to the show if they can get normies.
I think it shows though it is just a game feel problem for me because the world's great, the characters are great, the writing is pretty good. For the games, the older games seem like the writing was like excellent, and like Fallout 2, you know, the isometric kind of one. I've seen so many clips of the writing of that, and it's amazing. So, and that was the guys that have gone on to do who make Obsidian, you know. So we might get as well. Now they're all Microsoft studios. We might get them owning it. Well, to make another Fallout game at some point. New Vegas 2. Who knows? Best multiplayer game, Helldivers 2. I believe that's what I voted for as well. But I feel like Black Ops 6, Tekken 8, Space Marine 2. I played all of those. They're all excellent. I didn't play the Mario Party one, but I'm best sports racing game. EA Sports FC. I haven't played a sports game in ages, dude. I played Topspin back in the day and it fucking ruled, so I hope the Topspin games are still good. I couldn't believe it. Played it at Brogan's house back in the day on his original Xbox, and I was like, dude, why is a tennis game so fucking good? Best sim / strategy was Frostpunk 2. Kunitsugami did not win out on that one. I actually voted for Age of Mythology, but that was more because Alex was playing the hell out of it on my Game Pass account, and I was like, you know, why not? But Kunitsugami would have been my other pick. Frostpunk 2, I hear good things though. Best family game, Astrobot. Absolutely. Best fighting game, Tekken 8. Dude, one of our boys, DT, was like, Tekken 8 beat Sparking Zero for best fighting game, and I'm like, yeah. As it should.
Yeah.
I bought both those games. Sparking Zero.
It's an
I like
arena
Sparking
fighter.
Zero. It's an arena fighter. It's a super like casual game, and yes, there's more hardcore mechanics in it, but it's like, dude, they've barely adapted the formula in this game since Tenkaichi, and that's what most people wanted. And I enjoyed it. I put like 20 hours into it. I had a good time. But Tekken 8 is a way better game. I don't even think just subjectively. I think it's objectively a better game.
Yeah.
It just is. Tekken 8's so fucking good. Oh, dude, the soundtrack as well goes so fucking hard in that game.
Tekken has always had great sound design, though.
Yeah, their soundtrack's always gone way harder than it should. Like Tekken, it's great. Best RPG was Metaphor. Sorry, Infinite Wealth.
Game of a lifetime for me.
Game of a lifetime. You're like, yeah, well, game of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Add that on there, mate. Where's that, Jeff? Come on,
yeah.
mate. Come on, Kelly. Best action / adventure game was Astrobot. Best action, dude. Why they have best action game and the action / adventure game? It's the wording's dumb. Best action game was Black Myth Wukong. Best AR was VR game. Why did I say VR? Why did I say verse? Best AR / VR / AR. These acronyms are starting to back to back. It's too much. Was Batman Arkham Shadow, which apparently is really good, but only on Quest 3. Apparently, if you sideload it on your Quest 2, it does work. from what I've heard. But Asgard's Wrath 2, I've heard is amazing. That game was getting 10 out of 10s when it came out. Super rare for a VR game. I've got a Quest 2, so I haven't checked it out yet, but one of these days. I still have to finish Half-Life Alyx. Best mobile game, Balatro. Absolutely. Game is excellent. Best debut indie game, Balatro. It's great. Animal Well, wouldn't have minded that either. Best independent game, Balatro. UFO 50 and Animal Well were on there too. UFO 50 looks really cool and interesting. So definitely worth checking out. Best community support, Baldur's Gate 3. Best ongoing game, Helldivers 2. Games for Impact. Is that Never or Never? I don't know too much about it, to be honest. Tales of Kinzera Zao actually looks really cool. Metroidvania. But yeah, I haven't checked out Never. So one of these days, innovation in accessibility was Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which I played the demo and it is very good, even as Ubisoft hater. But I was like, man, I just don't want to drop $100 on this 2D Metroidvania. I'm not dropping full price on that. Where there's so many indie Metroidvanias on Steam for like $20.
So many.
Yeah. I saw something about a blind person playing Diablo 4, so I thought that might have won the innovation in accessibility. But Prince of Persia must have done some cool accessibility stuff, which is great. It's an interesting thing when people talk about adding accessibility in games, and even as like a Souls gamer, I don't want an easy mode in the game. I want it to be a one-set difficulty all the way through, but I think still adding more accessibility, whether that's control options and things like that, I think is really, really cool. Hell, I play some games in colorblind mode just because they'll outline characters better and stuff like that, and like really busy games. So, best performance was for Hellblade 2, which I did hear, as much as most people weren't really interested in the game, I hear her performance was really good. Best audio design, Hellblade 2. So, the audio was great in that game. Interesting, nobody's mentioning gameplay anywhere for Hellblade, so it's interesting. It's just catching strays. Well done on the award, you suck. No, I haven't played it. I tried to stream the first one years ago, and the subject matter is really serious, and the whole thing's quite tense. And I was like, man, I can't just be cracking jokes when they're like, woman having mental health crisis. I'm like, I couldn't stream the whole thing because it's too serious. And I can't go fucking 30 seconds without making a dumb joke. So, best score in music, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. The music in Rebirth is fucking phenomenal. They had like, I think it was like 300 tracks in the song. I mean, in the game. 300 fucking tracks. And some of them would feature like once. And they're like, oh, here it is. All right. Never hear this. You'll never hear this one again. Which is fucking crazy that they would do that. And sometimes it would just be a remix of another song and you'd hear it once. But to even go to that length just to play it once, crazy. That is also very on brand for Final Fantasy games of like, oh, here's a boss fight. Here's his boss theme. Now you don't fight him again. Oh, here's Gilgamesh's theme. He's battle at the big bridge. Oh, you're not going to hear this for the rest of the game. It's the hardest thing you've ever fucking heard in your life.
Well,
I kind of love that though.
It's sort of like with just side tangent. You played 10, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So they have Jack's theme, like during the I think it's like the Blitzball theme.
Is that other side?
Maybe.
Is that the heavy one? The middle one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear that, it's like, fuck, this goes hard, but you only hear it once. And then when you get to the final boss, they bring it back.
Yeah, see, that's really good. Dude, to that Blitzball scene, that goes so hard when that's playing. Like, that got so many of my friends into metal like in high school. Genuinely. I was messaging him today, happy birthday to my boy Craig. He hasn't really continued with it, but he got into Rammstein because he heard Other Side and then wanted to find heavier things. Like when we were like in high school. So yeah, it's good shit, man.
Your middle gateway is either Final Fantasy X or Devil May Cry.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As much as I do enjoy Devil May Cry, I do think slightly overrated, maybe controversial. Still good. Overrated doesn't mean bad.
Mm.
But I played through all of 5. I don't remember fucking anything from that game. The soundtrack was great. The art direction, everything's great. Like, it's so stylish. Like, the games are so stylish. I don't remember anything from it. Just like nothing at all. So, yeah. That might be my only real criticism. Everything else is great. They feel super good to play. So, best art direction, Metaphor Refantasio, which is it is a great looking game from everything I see. It is a whole thing as well, difference between like hyper realistic and then like stylized. Stylized, I think, always looks better and always ages better.
Yeah.
I think like because another one nominated in here like Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Shadow of the Erdtree, Never, which once again I still haven't seen Never, but Shadow of the Erdtree, like From Software's art direction's amazing. They're never gonna be like a hyper realistic visual like powerhouse, but the art direction's amazing. Black Myth Wukong, well, like I did a bit of both. Astrobot would have been my pick for it. Personally, I still think Metaphor deserves the win on that, but Astrobot looks incredible, and it is just art direction over pure graphics any day of the week. I think it's so much more important. I think people are finally starting to come around to it. The difference on pure graphics. I think as well, it's part of like I think it's a lot of kids that think graphics is the most important thing, and then the older you get, the more you realize graphics barely matters at all. Art direction's everything. Youths! I thought you were saying you, and then oh, they're Japanese. You. Or was that Soldier Boy? Who knows?
I was about to say they should make a game. It was just like Japan or Soldier Boy.
They did that one that was Twitch or Terrorist.
Yeah,
yeah. And you're like, oh, a lot of wild things going down on there. So, best narrative was Metaphor. I heard someone describe, also slight spoiler, so skip through like 20 seconds if you don't want to hear it, but I heard someone describe the narrative as, what if the moon from Majora's Mask created government? I was like, excuse me?
And that cracked out thing.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a wild premise, and I'm like, I'm definitely more intrigued now. Best game direction was Astrobot. And game of the year was Astrobot, which brought me a lot of joy to see, because I had a big fucking dumb smile on my face the whole time I played that game. It brought me so much joy. It made me feel like a child again playing like Crash Bandicoot for the first time. So this is the best 3D platformer, non-Mario 3D platformer in a very, very long time. I haven't seen anything like it. So I'm so glad Astrobot took it out. Like, at the end of the day as well, it's like, they're just awards, right? They're just a few people's opinions on who wins. They don't really matter. But I'm so happy to see as well. Like, I saw this comparison on Twitter as well. Someone said about, so the alleged price that it cost to make Concord was $400 million. So some people were saying $200 million, but it was it probably Monsters, I think, was the thing that owned them before, and it was rumored $200 million under them and then $200 million under Sony. So it's like that. So the meme said, though, it's like they spent $400 million on Concord, they spent under $60 million on Astrobot, and Astrobot wins Game of the Year. Concord doesn't last a week. Will Sony learn anything from this? Probably not. Like, I think that as well, it just goes to show, though, like, you just got to be making the right shit. It's not just to invest all of the money in the world. You have the right people making the right game. They're passionate about it. And then you win Game of the Year. You win Best Game Direction. You win... There's something else. They won something else down here too.
You win on the basic principle of nothing's getting like pushed or shoehorned in. It's just a functionally fun game.
Yeah, that's it. They made a fun game.
They
Best
made a
action
video
adventure
game.
Best family game. They won, which Nintendo wins pretty much best family game every fucking year. Like, look at the lineup: Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, Astrobot, The Plucky Squire, and then they were up against 3 Nintendo titles. Come on. I couldn't get into The Plucky Squire as well. I tried. I love the art style. I love the idea, but I don't think it got out of its own way enough. Just
It
let me
looks
play the
so
game.
good though.
It did, eh? It looked really promising, and I think their studio's going to make good stuff going forwards. I think they'll learn from it because it just fell a little short for me. I didn't end up finishing it. I got probably like halfway through, and I was like, there's so many other games to play. So, yeah. I also can't believe with Astrobot that when I was looking at the games that were coming out at the time, it was Black Myth Wukong, Space Marine 2, and Astrobot. And I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to get Space Marine. I'm going to have to get Black Myth. And then I kept hearing good things about Astrobot, and I was like, fuck it. That was the game I ended up buying, and I just loved it from start to finish. So it ended up being the right choice for me. So there are a few announcements as well at the Game Awards. I don't think we're going to go over all of them. Talk about a few of them, the ones that we think would be interested in, the big ones. So there's Intergalactic
Planetary.
Heretic Prophet. So the new Naughty Dog game announced. And I know as well, people think if you say one thing or the other that you have an agenda or anything. I just thought the trailer was boring. I just don't think it told me anything. You got a woman, an angry woman with a shaved head in space, and then some product placement. And I was like, okay, she just doesn't seem like a fun person. She just seems grumpy. Okay, fair enough. So, yeah. Did you see the trailer for that?
Oh, I've seen screenshots of it, like when I was just scrolling, and I was just like, oh, this is Naughty Dog's new IP. Sweet. I'll just put any thoughts, hopes that they'll do Jak and Daxter, or go to like do a stylized sort of game. I was like, oh, okay, no, the hyper realistic things, that's their shtick. I was like, okay, not for me. Wow, who knows when was released?
I really I loved the first Last of Us, especially when it came out. I felt like that was the best game that had been made at that time. End of the PS3 era, it was fucking superb. Last of Us 2 came out and the leaks happened, and I was like, this doesn't sound that good. I'm not going to play it. I played it maybe 2 or 3 years after, and I really enjoyed it. Last of Us 2 is actually a really good game. I thought it was a little long. I didn't think it needed to be 30 hours. I think 20 would have been fine for it, because it gets a little bloated and a bit long in the tooth. But overall, I really enjoyed The Last of Us 2, so I'm not a hater.
It's good you didn't write it off.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to kind of, though, I had to leave it long enough, though, to be out of whatever, the conversations were that were happening about it. Because some people are like, also, I disagree. People are like, it's a 10 out of 10 best game I've ever played. And then people are like, it's the worst thing ever. It's a 1 out of 10. I'm like, I don't agree with either of you. For me, though, it's like a 8.5, 9 out of 10 kind of game. I think it's really, really good. Probably closer to 9. I think it's an exceptional game. But just got to get rid of some of that bloat, I think. I think God of War Ragnarok had the same problem. They were going to make it 2 games originally and then folded it into 1. And I felt like, this didn't need to be 30-odd hours. Though, they added a roguelike mode to it later. Like, just tacked on a roguelike mode. There was a bit of story in it, and it was really fucking good. So I haven't played the Last of Us... I can't remember. I think it's the Last of Us 2 remaster, which... didn't really need to happen, to be honest. The game...
It's not an old game.
I played the PS4 version on the PS5, and it ran great. It looked great. They had the 60 frames patch and everything. It was a really good experience. So I don't think it needed the remake, but I think they added a roguelike mode to that. I haven't heard too much about that, but after the God of War one was really good, I'm interested in see it at some point. The big announcement for me, which I skimmed over earlier, Elden Ring Night Rain looks great. So a lot of these games, like when Elden Ring was coming out, I told myself not to play the network test because I didn't want to get too fucking hyped. But I'm going to play the network test for this one, I think. The Witcher 4. Oh, people are so fucking upset. Like, Geralt got an ending. The Witcher 3 is like, good. He's retired. So you're playing as Siri, not the iPhone app. Before you make a joke, Stephen.
Oh.
And it's all in engine, but it's still just a CG one. Well, it's in engine, but the game's not going to look like that. It's going to look good, but I thought the trailer was good. It was interesting. I actually really liked it. So interested to see that. Shadow Labyrinth. Did you see this? New Pac-Man game. Kind of.
Shadow Labyrinth.
Yeah, Shadow Labyrinth. A really interesting take on Pac-Man.
Oh.
Yeah. So
that's kind of sick.
yeah, I'm interested to see what it ends up being.
It gives me vibes of those Garfield memes where they
Yeah.
just made them like eldritch horrors.
Mm.
Sort of giving me those vibes.
There's a bit of that, eh? But it looks interesting. There's a new Okami, which is cool. When it's see him doing some more interesting things. Borderlands 4, after Randy Pitchford blocked me on Twitter, fuck him. I'm not looking at your Borderlands 4. I just saw people being like, yeah, Borderlands doesn't have the source anymore. I don't know. But if it's good, maybe I'll play it. When Borderlands 1 came out, at the time was genuinely my favourite game. I loved Borderlands 1. I thought it was amazing for everything I wanted when I was like 16 years old. But they don't do as much for me anymore. Split Fiction looked really cool. So some of the guys who did it takes two. So co-op game. So you've got a fantasy writer and a sci-fi writer, and then somehow their worlds get put into some simulation, and they've got to fight through their own writings and work together. These two women. That's really cool. Slay the Spire 2, which I'm really looking forward to. I love the first Slay the Spire. So deck builder roguelike game. It's a heap of fun. Outer Worlds 2, so it's a Obsidian RPG, kind of like in the style of Fallout, or closer now actually to what was Starfield, but still similar kind of game. I liked the first one because it felt like a lot of the Fallout kind of games, but the NPCs were just better written, more in depth. There were less of them, and there was less to do because some people were like, "Oh, I wanted the game to be on the scale of that," but they're not a massive team. They did it in a much smaller time as well, and I think that's better this way. I don't want the games to be like 100-hour games. I think having it smaller, but the NPCs being better and the quests being better is just better. How many more times can I say the word better?
Better.
Who knows? I'm just thinking, is there anything else to talk about? Clive got announced. Well, Clive from Final Fantasy 16 got announced for Tekken 8, who I think was it should have been Tifa, and I think Tifa would have been a better fit, but I think it's a good pick personally. So yeah, there's been about Virtua Fighter 5 for you, Stephen.
Yep.
Virtua Fighter 5 Revo, whatever that means. It's an acronym apparently. Yeah. So there's a lot of and for you as well. New RGG game, Project Century. So yeah, that looks interesting as well. I haven't. What kind of game do they say that is? I'm just looking through the list. They're saying it's an action game, and
Oh,
it,
oh.
I read it was like 19. Was it 1913 Japan? So 1915 Japan. Yeah. So super interesting setting. Looks really good. It'll be high quality because it's RGG who make it.
I also love being spoiled by RGG because I remember they announced when they did Like a Dragon Gaiden.
Mm.
It was released like a wee bit before Infinite Wealth came out,
Yeah.
and it ties into that. But also with Project Century, we also have the the hack and slash Devil May Cry spin like a Dragon spin off where you're a pirate.
Yes, that looks really cool as
It
well.
looks really like very on brand.
Yeah.
So,
And I know one of the reasons they can Japanese studios in general are getting really good at this, of like recycling assets and animations and so on for their games.
mm,
But like as a From Software fan, I love when I see, oh, they've got this Y-hander in this game, and I see an old familiar like attack pattern and so on and design, and I actually love that. It's like a comfort thing. People see the Claymore from like Dark Souls, and they're like, oh, fuck it, let's go. They do RGG do the same thing. They'll use old assets and things like that because they're good assets. You don't
yeah,
have to make like people got mad that is like God of War Ragnarok. Oh, Kratos used the same jump in the boat animation as the game
who
before. Yeah,
fucking
why would they
cares?
remake it? Why would they do another animation for that? It's a getting in the fucking boat. Well, you don't need to remake that. How many fucking different ways you want this cunt to get in a boat? It's like, oh
That's
god
so
damn.
dumb. That's so
Yeah,
dumb.
people do it for Horizon as well. Like, oh, she slides down the rope in the same way. Who cares? They added so much. People just want to complain, man. So I like seeing that these studios are actually just getting better at reusing stuff they've already made. You know, I as they should. So big fan of that. You'll get someone who will start taking the piss with it. It'll be Ubisoft or EA or someone like
Mm.
that'll start taking the piss. But overall, when done well, I think it's great, and it means that RGG can put out games way faster, and they're
Yeah,
still high quality games.
yeah, and
So,
they've really been hitting it out of the park.
yeah, absolutely.
Like I
Just
think my big
you go.
wank for RGG games, like especially like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth, is I know that you're not very a um the story can get a little bit bloated, but the thing that I like about just like Yakuza and that is I'm getting my fix of a solid game, solid mini games, but also they treat the story like cinema. Like it feels like a big J drama, and I'm
Yeah,
just like when people's like, oh, have you watched anything recently? I'll go through the plot line of I was like, what was that movie I watched? I was like, no, I was just playing Infinite Wealth.
yeah, yeah. And for me, the J drama stuff doesn't appeal much to me personally, but for a lot of people, it's great. So I get that for
Also,
sure.
Infinite Wealth had Danny Trejo in it.
That's such a wild person
Yeah.
to add into these Japanese games as well. I heard is Infinite. Well, where's that one set?
So it's set in two places,
Yeah,
Japan, but when you're Ichiban, it mainly takes place in Hawaii.
yeah, yeah. And I heard as well at the start, it's like you've got some bad English accents and so on with it,
Mm,
like bad American accents, and then over time it just becomes everyone speaking Japanese again,
yeah.
which we were like, oh yeah, they're a Japanese team. You're like, and it adds to like the silliness of Yakuza as well. So yeah, it's good shit, man. So the next segment is we're talking about what we're playing. So I've already talked about Flintlock, which has been great. Hopefully, I'm going away for work, so maybe I won't have it finished by next week. But fuck, who knows? Death Stranding. So my first like 3 hours, I was like, this is great. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. There's so much I'm fucking learning here. There's learning about the BBs and the BTs and the BBCs, BBLs, all of it, mate, all of it.
BMTH.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, it does feature Ludens by Bring Me the Horizon, and I'm not wearing the shirt this time.
Lost episode, lost media.
Yeah. You just had to be there, mate.
It was a legacy episode.
Yeah. You wouldn't understand. Then my next session of it, I spent 2 hours just delivering courier package. I know that's the game, but I was like, I've learned nothing new. I've unlocked nothing new. I just delivered packages for 2 hours. What the fuck? So I've only got another 2 sessions of that in me if I don't get anywhere. I've only got another 4 hours of just being the NZ post driver.
Yeah, I was about to say, before you transition into a courier driver.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that next time I play that will pick up again, and because I really liked when shit was getting interesting there, and shit was just getting wild. And I know it will at some point, but look, I only got about another 4 hours in me of nothing happening to carry on. But overall, yeah, it's super interesting. Character's got some stupid, dumb names. Fucking. He used to work at the morgue. His name's Dead Man. Oh, how'd you come up with this? Hideo Kojima? That's crazy.
Video
games. Bridges, because he builds bridges. It works for like this faction of like the government, I think is how it is. It's called Bridges because they literally are building bridges. Which is, look, as a business that makes sense, but they are, yeah. It's stupid but kind of charming and endearing in the way that he's named things in it and so on.
Wouldn't it be funny if there was just like because I haven't played it, if there was a associate to a big bad and his name's just called Right Hand, and it's just like, why is he called that? Because he's the enemy's right hand man. He's also right-handed.
Or worse, like that they try to make him like sound like he's the big villain of the game, and he's called Right Hand, and you're like, well, he's got to be the right hand man. And then it's like, oh, he's the right hand man to the big villain, and they do a big reveal. You're like, oh, you kind of told me in his name.
Yeah.
I haven't met anyone like that yet, but who knows? You never know with Hideo Kojima. But yeah, it's definitely some out there shit. Playing some Baldur's Gate 3 with the lads Wednesday nights. Twitch.tv/rect_tech. So yeah, we're getting through that. We have met J.K. Simmons' character, who is fucking badass. I love J.K. Simmons. That's my boy. I've been playing games on the ROG Ally because I bought one of those, a refurb one, got it cheap, which is nice. A bit of Binding of Isaac on that, bit of Balatro, which has been fun. I'm going away for work, so I'll be taking that with me. So it'll give me something to do in the hotel room instead of just being bored out of my fucking mind. So yeah, that'll be good. And then the last one for the things I've been playing, I just want to get this one out of the way so I don't have to mention it every fucking episode. I'm playing every card game, every single one of them. I've been playing Hearthstone since just before launch. I think I missed the first couple of months of early access or something, so just before launch. So I've been playing for over 10 years. I'm addicted. Love a card game. I have been playing the League of Legends one, Legends of Runeterra. I enjoy that as well. I've been playing a bit of the Pokemon TCG Online, which is good fun as well, and Balatro. So those are my current card games in rotation. I have a problem, but I can't talk about what I'm playing every week and just bring up the card games. It's how I unwind as well. I'll chuck on a YouTube video. I'll play a card game and just chill out. I have dinner and so on. Yeah. What about yourself, Stephen? What are you playing? What's on the go at the moment?
So at the moment, it's the 3 games have been once a week Baldur's Gate. It's been really good.
Boys.
With the boys.
Boys.
I am enjoying it a lot more than my solo run that I abandoned. Just because the bants are great, but also I don't really have a tactitious mind. So when we've got three other people, we can orchestrate strategies way more efficiently. Even though I've been upsetting people throughout this run, it's become a reoccurring theme. I'm adding the difficulty of just playing the game the way that I perceive it. And that's I see thing, I whack thing, I get people upset with me, I get bullied in the chat.
By Mulric, usually.
Yep. I
Shout
get
out
bullied
Mulric.
I get bullied by my co-hosts, and it's great because I'm adding that little bit of salty sweet flavor to the mix. And I'm crude and I'm vulgar. I'm also currently always playing Street Fighter 6. I'm really looking forward to when we wrap up season 2, because season 2 we got 2 King of Fighters characters, which I found out the reason why that happened is there's an agreement with SNK who are making City of Wolves, which looks mint. That's a fighting game I'm very much looking forward to. They, for Terry and Mai being in Street Fighter 6, they get Ken and Chun Li. So always playing Street Fighter 6, but a game that I fucking adore. It's a hard sell to people because it's a visual novel, but it's got a mean like plot twist. It's called Slay the Princess, and you basically you have a narrator talking to you. You have to go and slay the princess, but your choices matter. So when for some reason this run of saving the princess fails, there's going to be things that tie back to your previous run. Like she'll remember, like, oh, you're going to grab that knife again and try to stab me. The writing's charming. It's all voice acted, and all the art style was hand drawn. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but if you can hang in there for till the big twists like that unfurls, worth your time. It's not a long game, and it's very straightforward. Love it.
Yeah, I've heard good things from you and our boy Scriplet. He highly recommends it as well. So, um, there is a game I want to compare it to because I haven't played this yet, but it's better to not even compare it to anything. Just but look, it's a game where it's not like it's not like it seems. Not everything is not as it seems. So
Mm.
yeah, I need to play that blind at some point and just do it. It's not a
But it's a
massive
visual
game either, is
novel.
it?
How can you see if you're blind?
You said it's all voice acted, so
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
go
not
on.
long, and it's like I think it's like 30 Huck not on special.
Mm. So definitely worth checking out. Was that your list there?
That's my list there.
Wicked. So let's get to the Steam review of the week. So we've got one each here. So I'll start with this one here of it's a Bellator review. Discarding the wife and the kids for a full house by Hugh on Steam. So shout out Hugh. That's a ridiculous fucking review. Uh love it. I love it. Love a bit of poker humor. All right, Stephen, what you got?
Mine isn't a certain shout out to like a shout out to someone in particular. It's just the same review getting left on Slay the Princess, and that's just I can fix her. It's just back to back to back to back. It's like I can fix her.
Yeah, that's great. And I've got not to toot my own horn, but I have one of my own reviews that from Balatro, which is I'm pretty silly. So I played the mobile version of Balatro in the shower yesterday. I've lost control of my life. 10 out of 10.
Hmm.
I really did. So I got I woke up before my alarm, and I was like, I'll just have a quick run of Balatro. And the run was going really good. And my alarm went off. I was like, fuck, I got to get in the shower. So I just carried on playing in the shower before I put my phone down. Just, but yeah, I had 2 weeks where Balatro was like my life. I just didn't want to do much else. So the problem was I'd start a run at work, and then like on lunch break, and when I get back from my break, I was like, oh, I've still got to do this. I've still got this run. So I'd be at my desk playing Balatro. Don't tell anyone. We'll just keep that to ourselves.
Just don't play the ROG in the shower.
Just won't play the ROG in the shower, and I won't play the ROG version. Yeah, I was on the phone like dealing with issues and so on, so it wasn't so bad. It didn't really distract me from too much work, but yeah, I've quit that habit of playing it at work. I don't even play it on lunch break anymore because I know I'll just want to keep the run going. So yeah, so I just want to say as well, thanks for listening to our nonsense for a bit. I do appreciate it. Going forwards, love to get some community questions in each episode, and I'd love a bit of constructive feedback as well. So,
this one has audio.
Yeah, woo! So we're new at this. We're giving it a go. I'd love a bit of constructive feedback. Would be great. Would be appreciated just to help us to grow and get better at it. I mean, in a way, this is technically our second episode. Reasons.
I'm the reason.
We shaved a lot of time off, actually, though. We shaved off a heap of time from the first one. So I don't know. It was different considering we actually had more content in here. I feel like, yeah, I have no idea what's happened and how 30 minutes has got shaved off when we've added more stuff. But it's probably a good thing to be a little bit more brisk. We're probably waffling a bit, which we still did anyway.
We probably refined a little bit.
Yeah, quite likely. So I feel like realistically, it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah.
This should hopefully be the worst we ever are, and it's only up from here. So yeah, but if you got any feedback, chuck it in the comments or wherever, would be greatly appreciated. On socials, so on Twitter, rect_tech. I've got Blue Sky as well. Haven't used it, but I've got it. Just got to secure my handle. So I'm on there. Twitch as well as rect_tech. So REKT_TEK. You on any social, Stephen?
Not particularly, but that is something that's going to change in the near future. The one thing I do want to shout out is each Wednesday on around like 7:30, 8 o'clock New Zealand time, come watch us play Baldur's Gate 3, and shout out your Discord thingy, your Twitch thingy.
Oh yeah, that's just that. Twitch.tv/rect, so REKT_TEK, Rect Tech.
It's lots of fun, and we also like to engage with the comments. We also like to chuck in controversial questions to the viewers, just like fudge or brownie.
And look, and if you DT, you'll pick the wrong one. That's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
There's only one. There's only one answer, and it's the correct answer. But that's for you to decide, or be wrong.
You can be wrong. That's fine. We will shame you.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you come to the stream, you will get bullied.
Don't worry, we'll reprogram you.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll fix you. Much like the princess, mate. We'll fix you.
Yeah, but no, it's a lot of fun, and we like to have some bants with people who jump in.
Absolutely. As well, No Scrubs, KNOWSCRUBS, so No Scrubs Gaming, I believe on Instagram and on Twitter. I've done fucking nothing with them so far. I've done fucking nothing with them. So, if things start taking off anyway, well, actually, I'll just be posting on there regardless because I think it'll be good to get some things going. But once again, any feedback, let us know in the comments. Would very much appreciate it. All right, until the next one, we'll catch you later.
Catch ya.
Bye.